The twin suns of Kepler 442b cast long shadows across Elias Ward's modest farm as he tended to his genetically modified wheat. 3 years on this frontier world, and he'd finally gotten the soil balance right. The stalks swayed golden in the alien breeze, a small piece of earth transplanted across the stars. Then the sky darkened. Elias looked up, shielding his eyes. At first he thought it was a storm. The atmospheric processors sometimes caused unusual cloud formations. But storms didn't move with such purpose. Storms didn't have wings. They descended, like living starships, their scales shimmering with bioluminescence that pulsed in complex patterns. Dragons. That's what the colony database called them, Draconai stellaris, though they bore little resemblance to Earth's mythological creatures. These beings were sleeker, more serpentine, with 6 limbs and crystalline horns that refracted light into prismatic halos. Dozens of them landed in his fields, crushing weeks of work beneath their massive bodies. Elias grabbed his plasma rifle from the tractor, heart hammering. First contact protocols screamed through his mind, but those were meant for diplomats in sterile meeting rooms, not farmers facing a herd of house-sized alien predators. The largest dragon stepped forward, its scales a deep purple that shifted to silver at the edges. Its eyes, 3 of them, arranged in a triangle, fixed on Elias with an intelligence that froze him in place. Human, it spoke, the word vibrating through the air and directly into Elias's mind. I am Valeth, herd mother of the Crimson Peaks. We come, seeking aid. Elias nearly dropped his rifle. The translator implant in his ear buzzed with confusion, unable to reconcile the telepathic transmission with spoken language. Aid? You just destroyed half my crop. Valeth's head lowered, a gesture that seemed almost like shame. Forgiveness. We are desperate. Our young are dying. Behind her, smaller dragons emerged, barely the size of earth cattle. Their bioluminescence flickered weakly, and even from a distance, Elias could see they were malnourished, their scales dull and cracked. The farmer's anger evaporated. He'd seen that look before, in the eyes of dying livestock on his grandfather's ranch back on Earth. Desperation transcended species. What's wrong with them? Elias asked, lowering his weapon. A blight, Valeth explained, her mental voice heavy with grief. It consumes the lumina flowers, our young's only food source. We have searched 3 continents, but the blight spreads faster than we can fly. The colonial authorities, they would not see us. They fired upon our scouts. Of course they did, Elias thought bitterly. The colony's leadership saw the Draconai as threats to terraforming efforts, obstacles to progress. How long do they have? Days. Perhaps less. Elias studied the young dragons. Their eyes held the same innocent trust he'd seen in every newborn creature he'd ever tended. His mind raced through possibilities, mentally cataloging everything in his storage barn. Wait here, he said finally. Valeth's third eye blinked. Surprise, perhaps. You will help us? Maybe. Don't eat my chickens while I'm gone. Elias sprinted to his barn, his augmented legs covering the distance in seconds. Inside, he pulled up his agricultural database, fingers flying across the holographic interface. Lumina flowers. He'd seen references to them in the xenobotany surveys. They were nitrogen-fixing organisms, similar in chemical composition to certain earth legumes. An idea sparked. He grabbed 3 things, a portable gene sequencer, a bag of hybrid soybeans, and his late wife's research notes on accelerated growth compounds. Sarah had been the real scientist in the family, a xenobotanist who died in the colony's first winter. Her work had saved the settlement's food supply. Maybe it could save the Draconai too. Back in the field, Elias found Valeth had organized the herd into a protective circle around the young. The herd mother watched him approach with wary hope. I need a sample, Elias said. A lumina flower if you have one. A smaller dragon stepped forward, producing a wilted purple bloom from a pouch-like fold in its neck. Elias accepted it gingerly and fed it into the sequencer. The device hummed, breaking down the flower's genetic structure. Your flowers need specific minerals and bacteria to grow, Elias explained as he worked, pulling up comparison charts. The blight probably disrupted the soil microbiome. But look, the protein chains are similar to earth legumes. I think I can modify my soybeans to produce the same nutrients. Valeth's scales rippled with colors Elias couldn't interpret. This is possible? Humans are good at making things grow where they shouldn't, Elias said with a slight smile. It's kind of our specialty. He worked through the night, using Sarah's notes to accelerate the genetic modifications. The process should have taken weeks in a proper lab. But frontier farming had taught Elias to improvise. He spliced genes, adjusted growth hormones, and prayed to whatever gods might be listening. By dawn, he had seeds. These will grow in about 12 hours with the right conditions, Elias explained to Valeth. Your young can eat them. They're not identical to Lumina flowers, but they should provide the same nutrients. 12 hours, Valeth repeated. Some of the young may not survive that long. Elias looked at the weakest hatchlings, their light nearly extinguished. Then he looked at his fields, at the wheat that represented his entire year's income, his survival. Use my irrigation system, he said. Plant them in the eastern field. I'll flood it with growth accelerant. 6 hours, maybe less. Valeth's 3 eyes widened. You would sacrifice your harvest? Crops can be replanted, lives can't. The herd mother bowed, a gesture of profound respect. Humanity is not what we were told. The next hours were a frenzy of activity. Dragons worked alongside a human, their massive claws surprisingly delicate as they planted seeds under Elias's guidance. He flooded the field with every growth compound he had, mixing Sarah's experimental formulas with reckless abandon. As the suns reached their zenith, the first sprouts emerged. By afternoon, they were flowering. The young dragons descended on the crop with ravenous hunger, their bioluminescence brightening with each mouthful. Valeth stood beside Elias, watching her herd feed, watching her children live. We will remember this, she said. The galaxy knows humans as warriors, as conquerors, but we will tell a different story, of the human who gave everything to save strangers. Elias shrugged, uncomfortable with the praise. Just doing what's right? Valeth's scales shifted to warm gold. Then humans are more dangerous than we thought. Compassion is the most powerful force in the universe. As the dragons prepared to depart, carrying seeds and cultivation instructions, Valeth made one final promise. The Draconai do not forget debts. When humanity calls, we will answer. Elias watched them disappear into the sky, then turned to survey his ruined fields. He'd have to explain this to the colony authorities, face their anger, possibly lose his farming license. But as he picked up a trampled wheat stalk, he smiled. Some harvests couldn't be measured in credits or crops. Some were measured in lives saved, in bridges built between species, in proving that humanity's greatest strength wasn't its weapons or technology. It was its capacity to care. The galaxy would learn that lesson soon enough.